Okay, Dave and Harris here with the dads. We have a rare opportunity with the family here. Somebody else is behind the camera besides one of us, so we can actually be here, which is going to be great because we can knock some of this out a little more quickly.
All right.
What we're actually showing you is tonight we're preparing for our dinner this evening is our prime rib. We've had the butcher cradle the beef, which will make it easier for us when we go to carve it. So the bone, you're actually cooking and roasting the meat with the bone in, but it's been already cut and tied. So it'll be easier tonight when we go to carve the meat. We just undo the strings and the bone is gone. What we're going to actually do for the meat, we're going to sear it at a high temperature and then reduce it down and slow roast it all day at about 225 degrees. But for the real trick, which I think makes it wonderful, beef, first of all, really loves salt. But what we're going to do is we're going to make up a combination of some kosher salt, some black truffle salt, and we're going to rub the meat first with a little black truffle olive oil. And for our rub, we're actually going to take whole cloves of garlic. And from our garden, I just went out and picked some fresh thyme and rosemary. We're going to chop that up. We're going to make a rub of these ingredients. And we're going to rub it all over. Harris is scoring the beef right now.
Just the fat.
Just the fat cap to help break that down a little bit.
We want the herbs and the salt to absorb in. So
right. It's going to allow all of that rub to get in there. We're going to let it then come up to room temperature fully, probably for a good hour before it goes into the oven, which is good because I still have my eggplants roasting in there. And then we'll take care of that, and then this will go in, and it's going to cook until dinner time. Nice slow roast.
Right. So to do that, the rub consists of chopped rosemary, chopped thyme, it's garlic. We rub black truffle oil all over the beef first, and then we use black truffle salt, and we'll probably add a little kosher salt to that. And we're going to put that all together and make this rub. So here's how it works.
I'm just chopping the garlic. I think Harris showed you this before, and most everybody knows it. We're taking the whole cloves, give it a quick tap with the knife, which will break the shell loose.
Right. And what I'm doing with the thyme is I'm pulling the small thyme leaves off of the stem. And then I'm going to do a little rough chop on these leaves. And we're going to put everything into a bowl and meld it all together. I did a few before you guys arrived.
I'm just giving this a good quick coarse chop of the garlic, and we'll put that in our dish with those other herbs. You got that bowl over there, Harris?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, we need to do the same thing with rosemary. Maybe you'll help me do that.
You know, it's not a science down to how much, a lot of people say, well, exactly how much garlic did you use, or how much thyme, how much for the rosemary. It's really a lot of personal preference. It's getting a nice good coating. So it's going to depend on how big of a piece of beef you're actually trying to cover, and doing what feels good to you. And if there's some other herbs that you've got in your garden, actually I just went out and picked these. We do have a little bit of snow today, so it's good. I had my Crocs on that I told you about earlier, my kitchen Crocs that help with the skidding on the floor. But really, it's totally up to you. You could use some oregano, whatever herb it is that you like best. I'm going to go ahead and add some of the kosher salt, probably a good couple of tablespoons in there.
You want to chop up this rosemary pretty fine, because rosemary is a little tougher than like a thyme is. The leaves are a little more intense. And as the cooler weather comes, it's harder to get those little soft baby pieces like I'd prefer to use. But it's still very flavorful and really great.
This black truffle salt is so wonderful. I just opened the jar. Take a whiff of that, Harry.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing. My sister Carol came up yesterday and she brought us this ingredient because it's hard to get this out where we live. But I put a nice little heaping of that. The aromatics from the truffle. Truffles right now, depending on the area you're in, go from $700 to $900 a pound. But you can actually pick up a small jar of this. It's just the shavings of the black truffle mixed in with the salt, and it's actually been in the jar, so the salt itself has really sucked out the oils from the truffle, and it's just so aromatic, and that's what's going to make this beef absolutely wonderful.
So can you see the rub with the salt and the garlic, the herbs all in there? So now we're going to actually take this meat. I'm a sloppy cook.
Give me 1 second, because I want to rub the meat first here with some oil.
Okay, the black truffle oil.
Yep. See, I've got the actual black truffle oil here itself. By putting the oil, first of all, it's going to allow the rub to adhere to the meat better, but it's also going to allow a chemical process to happen where the herbs are going to break down and marinate right into the meat itself. Ooh, Harris, you cut through my string there. Okay.
Oh well. That's what happens when you're on film. You get carried away. While you have that side, before you flip it over.
And you're not going to really be putting the rub onto the bone part, but on the meat side here.
Right.
Exactly. Go ahead. We're going to see, we're going to give this a nice little coating of it. Rub it in good. Okay.
You know that's done?
You see how my bone is separated there? You can actually...
That's called cradling.
You want to put a little bit in there, Harry? Like I did?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Okay. Well, one advantage of that string being cut, right? Throw some of that on here.
Yeah.
And that's really about all there is to this. We are going to let this marry up together as it comes up to room temperature, because it really is helpful when you actually get the meat into, when you're putting it into the oven, because we're going to be putting a sear to the outside, and that's why we're going to put it in initially about a 450, 500 degree oven.
Right.
And what you'll get, it's going to actually, the purpose of the sear is to actually cause the exterior of the meat to seal itself, so it'll hold all the juices in. So then as it cooks really slowly all day,
Right.
the juices stay in and don't run out of
If
your meat.
if we would have cooked this meat at a low temperature for a long period, it wouldn't have the juice. We're going to only cook it to a medium rare, but searing it and then cooking it slow will allow this to become very tender and absolutely delicious. So we'll see you guys shortly. Thanks.